This is Gerald Johan van Waans and the educational channel that is related with the sound form theory. There are two books that are about this theory. This is the development of the word, which is the basic theory, and the application of the word, which is actually seeking all kinds of references that are still related with the meaning of sounds and so on. And they give you an angle from this vision. One of these angles that I investigated was the Japanese script, and there was a couple of things that I discovered, which were a structure beneath the existence, and also underlying the usage of the script and also of the language. The language, okay, I'm a bit behind that because I'm not a native speaker. So that is still needs some time for me to finalize this and give a full perspective. I'm not able to do that yet, but I have already the possibility to make some comparison and to make some really helpful comparisons that also reveal the underlying structure of the especially the script, and a little bit less of the language because of my lack of connection with that. But I have the possibilities to make that connection, and okay, it still needs a couple of extra steps. In this video I will take just one very small step from the theoretical comparisons to the more practical usage of this script and of some of the words, of the Japanese words that can be compared to my theory. And I have already explained some of the Japanese words with the basic questions of NANI, ka as well, ITSU, DOKO, DORE and DORE. And here I go a little bit deeper into it, in the same things, and investigate it even further. And I give you also the background of what lies behind these words and behind the script that is expressing these words. I already talked about NANI, that it was what, and that it was like in the philosophy that can be discovered behind that. In language there are a lot of things that hang together, not only in the grammar you can find that, it's also in the easily associated elements there. And in the question, one of these easily associated elements was, of course, you have the person who asked the question, you have the good question, and you have the question mark. The ka is what, like the question mark, and the nani, or what, is actually the question to the question mark. The question mark itself, I said, was the element of let's say even disbalance. There's a disbalance, and you have to correct it with nani. You ask the right question, so you ask and the right question is also like, you don't ask like, what do I want to do with it, but it asks, what is it, what is the thing, what is going on. And that's the philosophy behind it. That's the spiritual philosophy behind it. It's rooted also in these expressions of the letters, the kanji, which has also references in the whole wide range of letters in from the Chinese script, and they are rooted in a Confucian philosophy of getting to a balance of things. So it is also recognizable in each letter what we are doing, and we connect the words with each other, we connect the symbols or the kanjis with each other in a way that we also adapt in the correct way. So the question mark, the conflict situation, as you can say, the struggle of ka has to be adapted by the correct mentality. And what is a correct mentality to solve a question? It is not I want to solve it, but it is what is it to be solved. It seems to be almost, for most people, it would be like, yeah, oh, it's logical that it is like that, but it's not that logical. We have a way of thinking that is best to follow. We have the tendency not to do that all the time if we don't follow the underlying rules. These underlying rules are given with us, with language and with letters as well. So we take with what, we take a distance from I, from the thing, and we go from I, and we go to the thing, towards the working field, and that's our attitude to work with. This is the correct attitude. We approach us towards the struggles in the world, towards the unknown, by naming it. We have a question mark to it. What is it? And if I investigate the word for where the kanji, where it comes from, which I actually didn't do yet, except for the ka, which was almost like the sword, which was trying to get rid of what should be get rid of, or try to defend something, or try to distinguish something, depending also on using the tool by the person with a mentality to ask the right question, to behave in a certain way, to use the sword as a distinction much more than as an aggressor. But NANI, what, is even much more at a distance than just from one person who takes a distance from oneself, to say, like, not from I have a question and I want to do something with it. No, it is what. So we take a distance from the things and we go to the things themselves. But it is almost as if it is even much more another person who looks at a person and says, okay, what do you have there? That's also a thing that you can say. What is it? And the original kanji, as you can see there, is a person which is a little bit bended over, and it takes something with him, a little bit like this photograph that I have here. You can also say, like, okay, it is a person who has something with him, but even there it is the reference point that you also say you want to define something, and you want to define something by taking a distance from a person, but you still define this person from by defining what he has with him, what he has in him, what he has as a thing with him, what is the container there, what is carried with him. And the original signification also has a reference to carry. It's not a car itself, it's not what is lying on the car, but it's the connection, reference from a distance from a person to the thing, but not just the thing, but also the thing that is taken with a person, so the useful thing, so what is carried with him. On the other hand, the symbol itself is a question mark. As you can see, it's question mark in the Proto-Sino-Tibetan language. It's also used as ga or ka. It is used as a question, so you can also use it as a question, but it is with the mentality behind it. Go towards the thing, but not just the thing, but the thing that has been used, that has been temporarily used by someone, and that's a reference point. Why NANI, I already explained, it's almost like the opposite of in and an. So what is connected to someone, and what is connected in someone, and what is connected in a certain process, and so on. While the the word, first word that you can also recognize there is the Chinese letter of a person. In French, it's the Jean, and it's comparable. The Jean, les gens have something with them. It defines the persons, but it defines the persons with a distance from the person. There's a temporal function given to these persons by what they have with them. So in a way, it still defines an intention. So what do you have with you is also something like, what do you put in use? What is your intention? And that's also a reference point in the philosophy behind it, that it matters what is in it, what is an it, as a matter of speaking. Let's compare now the general background in the words with a couple of letters. I'll give you something from the book. The book, The Application of the Word, also describes the structure. The structure in the language has also this yin and yang process of evolutions, and you have something that you pinpoint, which is the thing, the real picture. You have a process of becoming. You have a background, a working structure, a context. You have also a progress, where something is progressing and going and evolving towards something. And you have also a certain objective of the things that are becoming. And these can be put into lines, into forms, and you can recognize these forms, and you can recognize these forms in the script. On top, I also have this form, which is actually the transformation process of you go to the progression and you take something with you and you change things. The other arrow which goes down is the arrow that of engagement. You engage yourself into the process. In that way, you have a full circle. You go from oh to I to O to U to E, and the A is the general progress. These directions are, in fact, directions that are the same in every language. A is the general progress. E is what you insert in it of something new. And the U is something which is incomplete. That's why I also have here these three colors again. The A has the blue neutral color. You have this progress. You pinpoint a reference and you go into the progress. The E is you insert something new. You have an idea. You have the impulse, and you take out also the idea of what you can use. The U, on the other hand, is also participating in the progress, but it's what it's getting out of the process. What is getting out of the transformation? Only some things can be derived from it, can become. Not everything can become. There's this element of gravity as well. So there's the gravity of situations which will not allow you to develop everything. These are three letters with the Chinese and Japanese references that can be used in all languages as well and can be learned in all languages. I already explained the I. I'll go a little bit further when I will explain ITSU, which means when. In my book, The Application of the Word, I read the ideal I is expressed with the radius of active progress by a person that brings forth all the results of a fundamental, the vertical, both as a receptive impulse to move forward or to devote oneself, and in the direct resultant consequences thereof. In other words, this is the engagement towards something new. It is the engagement in the process. You want to put something new in the process, and that's why also there's this arrow downwards. You go towards the transformation of the process. You want to bring something in, and you will find a way how to bring it in. That's the first part, I. Now I go to Tsu. The second part, tsu, I will read my book. I will see what I will have in the tsu. In fact, it's the T combined with the U, but because of the involvement in the process, we also hear the S. The S is what comes out of the end of the process. We also involved it in a transformation process. So everything which is U or undeveloped will seek a place, because the T will try to find a place so that we can distinguish it can show the distinctive elements, but it's slow. It's not going immediately, but we will see what will work and what will not work. The S is a reference point of what will work and what will not. At the end of the process, we will see what will work and what not. So tsu is really that. And there is a very old symbol, how it is expressed in the early days, the tsu. You can see it is almost like the stream or the rain coming through, or it looks like a stream. It is like what is seeping through. That is more or less how I perceive it. What is really seeping through in the situation. And tsu is a combination of three letters: T, distinction; U, a depending nature; and S, the final effect it will get. So that's how you can understand it, that when circumstance can be found, something can flow through. That's how you can understand it. So here you have I, tsu, on the cycle, on the full cycle of all the progress and all the things that are happening. So you have the idea that comes in, and then what is in the process. The U is underneath there in the winter phase, so it is undeveloped, but you try to get something out of it. When will it be ready? When will it be useful? When it's ready, when it's there, when the situation is fine, and when you notice it. So when it seeps through, you can say. I also compared it to this image, so maybe that's more easy to understand. And if I also compare to the very old script from Japan, which is a reference to between all the elements which are on the year scheme, order on the year scheme, there must be some books about it, but they are all in Japanese, so I don't have much reference there. But I can see the U is again all at the winter zone. That is the same kind of references, and the tsu is at the end of the process. I can take something out of it when I know all the U variations, when all the incomplete variations. At some point I can make a distinction, what I can use, what I can not use. And to what can I compare it? Because it's in the winter zone and it's an open, you see the U is open, it's open to progress. It is a bit comparable to the seeds in the soil, and they try to seek the light when spring arrives. It will try to follow the light. It has to have the right circumstances, otherwise nothing can be created. So tu is the reality, as you can see. That's from my book. These sentences. The reality of what one can bring out is the tu. So that's what I can use. So here are the connections with the functionality. Finally, I found it. The workings, what can be, how something that is found to be active. So here I can use it. Yeah, it's there. It's ready. That's the tsu. So when is, as you can see in the winter, when the time is right, you can take it out. Doko, I will explain as well. This is the combination of do and ko. The do is not in the system. The do is the D is a pronounced expression of to. So I can explain to. O itself are all the processes going around. It's the maintenance of the whole process. The maintenance, that's what you try to do in the beginning of the process. You try to see that you can maintain the process so that it can go all around from the O, from the O until the O, and the other way around. So you have the full processes. You want to have the full process going on. The O is process. It's about process and the maintenance of the process. But the to, the T, we know already, it's distinction, it's a placement. So what it is in this combination is, so we try to give it a place in the process. That's the to. But I have to go further. So it's not just, I can't just place it there. I have to place it into the system of transformation. The D is what is coming towards it after a while. So the T is just now, immediately. The D needs a bit more time. So what do I need with Do? In Do, I'm dependent on the next process. The O is getting into the process, and then I'm dependent on the process. What will happen in the process? It will be a whole process of getting ready, getting the right elements together, getting all guys kinds of things which are in the U most of the time. The U, which is the undeveloped part, under the ground, the roots themselves. They will take care that we can take things out. It's the old symbol To is compared to actually also what is growing out from the roots out, from the plant out. So, and then you can see that certain steps are taken to make a branch, make another branch, go in different directions and see and adapt. Actually, it's a little bit the plant which is growing further, and it knows what it needs to do as changes. It goes towards the light, and it takes steps towards light. It doesn't do that immediately. It will follow the process, as you know already from the sound O, how I expressed it several times. Then you know that To is taking steps, and that's how you can see it. The T is as a foundation, and it takes steps, in a whole range of steps also to go towards engaging the process. The second part is Ko, so after To Ko, so we have the engagement in the process, and depending on what helps the process and what not. The Ko is our real distinction, so that we can progress it further, and therefore we need to understand the K. The K, I have in my book the whole series of letters, the Ka, Ki, Ko, Ku, Ku. The Ka, we know already, is like the slash of the sword. We engage into our problem. We have a problem and we want to solve it, and we have the sword to and we engage ourselves completely in the progress as a first movement, a first engagement. It's very aggressive, so we have to use a distinction in it. As the Ku is the distinction. That's the moment of truth where we know what will progress and what will not. The U is the undeveloped stage in its full nature, so we also can leave the undevelopment and distinctive, that some parts can be developed from there. We can distinguish what is useful in this distinction of saying this we can use and this will not use. The Ko, in the end, that's at the end of this process. It's about the process itself. What is this process of distinction about? It is about recovering. What can we recover from this distinction? From some things will not work. because when we first engage in the process, the first fourth of the every process, the process is in 4 stages. We engage ourselves in the process, we engage ourselves in the fight. Actually, we jump into the fight. We have to be strong at that point. We don't know that yet. So we have to have a whole process to see if we are worthy of surviving in this process. As soon as we have a good distinction to understand already what we can engage in the process and then let it develop after that, we know already what can maintain the process. So the core is the engagement of elements that work to make a distinction. We know already what will work, and that's why we can are able with core to know what we can put into the process, and we fall into the process at that point. So it shows conversion, as I said here. It's conversion. We will put it into the process. We'll put it in. We put the full thing in. So DOKO is the distinction of what we can use with DOKO, what we can use and what we can engage in a way. So these are the conditions where it is the conditions that work where, somewhere. In this transformation process, as you can see, you have this engagement. We have also two words that I didn't explain thoroughly yet. We have the DORE and DARE. But before we understand RE, I will explain it a little bit better. Before we can understand RE, you also have to understand RA. Again, I have a whole series in my book, Ra, Ro, Ru, Re. And this is in fact the whole engagement of taking elements with you to put them into circulation completely into a time schedule and into where it works. So the Ra will put things in circulation. That will be confrontational because it will be engaged and get its results. Re is almost at the end of this process of engaging elements and integrating elements and connecting elements. The Re will be about the reintegration. After winter, it's spring. In spring, in the beginning of spring, things can be still reintegrated and recovered or reused. Just after winter, we can still know that we can use the seeds or we can use something for the next spring. That's what it is. And the elements that we use, I have also in my book an explanation that there is a balance between the elements that you use in the winter time, between U or the unused and the N and the used elements. Here Re especially used the elements that they can use, that he knows which one are useful and they succeed in it to recuperate them. And the old character of Ru, as you can read in my book, it has an emphasis on retaining. As you can read here with a fragment from this book. So Dare and Dore. Dare means who. As here you have the A in the middle with the pressed moment after a while, where you have the center there in the pressed out moment that is keeps the center. So it is the centralized activity in Re there that you have. The Dare means who. It could also mean what, if I explain it, if I check it there. Dore means which. It's the O around it, so it's the environment around it, it's the associations around it, so it's a bit more, so it is which. So I have Dore, So I have the re again. So what do I engage in the process and what do I take out is our end conditions actually a little bit. And DARE is strangely enough not what, but it is who. And re is a reference to a thing, which I still find slightly confusing as association, but because DARE could mean it instead, or what, it could also mean what, but what in the context of what is steering, what is going on in the process, but it is a reference to who. So who is in fact also activating this center of what is going on. So I have to ask questions to someone who knows Japanese better to explain me why it is who and not what, but because it could as well be what, but in a specific way of what is in a process and is taken out. It's in the process and taken out of the process. I hope it has given you a little bit of associations that can make you remember these letters better. The book itself is mostly still a reference to how the sounds combinations are directing these letters and words of double letters and words in Japanese. They are not completely fit with how language nowadays has been used yet. This is the next stage. I still have to finalize that stage, but you can already sense from where the letters are associated. And also have the background. I also have the background associations of how it is moved onto the process of engagement and processing the elements. That is also something that I already am closer to see and show also what is being processed with these letters in words. Anyhow, thanks for watching. This was Gerald Johan van Waas. There's a website too. Feel free to put some remarks there as well. I still need help to finalize the practical part. I think that's my next stage. How the background, how the philosophy, and also the elements of meanings of sound work in reality in language. In reality, there are words that are connected very much to each other. They drive you into a certain direction. It's not just the meaning of sounds alone. It's not just the structure of references that I shown and that I discovered alone, but there are things that even make it more practical and more easy. But that's something I will find out after a while. Thanks again. Bye bye.